Welcome, Pewter Report readers, listeners, and viewers to a Victory Monday edition of the Pewter Report podcast. I am Scott Reynolds. Joining me today is JC Allen from Pewter Report. And JC, that was a much needed road win yesterday, 38-31 in Indianapolis, trailing by 10 points. I'm sorry, did I call him Sack Barrett? I meant Sack Barrett. Came up with a huge, monumental sack in that game, his second of the game. The first one wasn't so monumental, wasn't as consequential. But boy, that sack fumble that we saw from Sack Barrett was big time for this team, and really keyed a big time turnaround. They scored 17 straight points, took the lead. Colts tied it up. We saw Leonard Fournette come through with his fourth touchdown of the game, and it's all she wrote. But let's talk about this, JC. This was something that the Bucs needed to prove, not just to me, not just to you, but I think to themselves, that they could go on the road and stop with the penalties, or at least cut them down, get some takeaways, and beat a pretty good quality playoff team.
Yeah, it's no doubt that they have had struggles tremendously on the road. Even the victory that they do have, was just a squeak by. So, going out there, and again, they kind of did still just squeak by. A 7-point victory, but you barely got there. It was encouraging, and it's got to give the team confidence going forward. Especially winning at a place like Lucas Oil Stadium, which is very loud. It's one of those indoor domes. And it can get really raucous there, and especially if you look at some of the teams that they might have to play in the playoffs that play in domes. You're looking at, down the line, the Rams again or the Cardinals. To get a win inside of a dome, I think was huge for them. And to just kind of get that monkey off their back, like, okay, everyone's, they hear the noise, they hear the media, they can't win on the road, they can't win on the road, they can't win on the road. To go out there and do it and score more than what they've been able to score, which was 23 points on the road, and to do it like the way they did in a comeback fashion behind Mr. Sack Barrett's big charge and game-changing play that really led that march to victory was huge for absolutely for us who analyze them, for the fans who've been on them, and for them themselves to realize that, hey, we got this, we can do this. It's on to Atlanta, and we're going to do it again.
Yeah, I agree. And I just came out with my 2-point conversion column, my post-game column on pewterreport.com this afternoon. And one of the predictions I had, not to spoil it, you should go read it still, but one of the predictions I had was, I don't see the Buccaneers losing another road game this year. I think this was the toughest of the remaining ones for sure. You're looking at the Atlanta Falcons coming up this Sunday. That's on the road. Then you've got the Jets and the Panthers. Boy, the Panthers are reeling right now. Right, Cam Newton is not the answer at quarterback. Christian McCaffrey is out for the year. So if for some reason the Panthers steal one from the Buccaneers in any of these two remaining games they have in December, holy smokes!
You're not sold on. You're not sold on.
I'm not saying fire Bruce Arians, but I might be thinking it. The Panthers are bad. I don't see them losing any of these next three road games. I think their toughest two home games left, right, are the Saints and the Bills.
Yeah, absolutely. But you're telling me you're not sold on the return of Cam Newton? Is that what you're saying? he's not that miracle, godsend from up above that's going to save the Panthers season. No, I think you're right. I mean, Atlanta, Carolina, Jets. I mean, if you lose one of those games on the road, I mean, it's going to be, you deserve any criticism you get. I mean, you're head and shoulders better above any one of those teams, and that's without Antonio Brown. That's without Jamel Dean. You should still be able to beat these teams. I don't want to say fairly easier, because any given Sunday we've seen the parity of the league now. But you should be able to have your way and get back on track, especially on the road, especially and proving that especially going up to New York against the Jets in the cold weather. That you can get the job done even in inclement weather, in the cold as well. And they did it last year in Lambeau. We saw that, but there are no fans there. Not sure there'll be any fans in the stands of the Jets game either.
That's true.
But yeah, I mean, you look at home, and you got the Saints and the Bills, two big tests. I don't care what the Bills have looked like the last couple of games. getting their tail beat by the Jaguars and by the Colts. You know, I still think they're a quality opponent. They definitely have different ways they can beat you, especially through the air, which is something that the Bucs have let up a lot of air yards so far. And Josh Allen is still an MVP type caliber player, so you got to look out for that. And the Saints are just like they're just that itch that won't go away. They're just that nagging mosquito that you can't slap on you. So you can never really count the Saints out in these divisional games. But yeah, I mean, they should sweep the Panthers.
And we saw today there was a change of quarterback, right? For the Saints. They're going to Taysom Hill, their big money man.
Big contract they just got.
Yeah. Gosh, I don't get that. I don't get that at all. I don't understand the Saints. Glad I'm not covering the Saints.
Last week.
What's that?
He was just sitting on the bench last week. He said and then Stephen Che said it best. He's the best at sitting on. He's the most versatile bench player in the league. He can sit on the bench as a quarterback, as a tight end, as a running back. So
he's versatile. He's got the most versatile ass probably around, right? Sitting on the bench. Yeah,
absolutely. So we'll see how much better he can do than Trevor Sikkema back there at quarterback, and see what he's able to do.
Trevor Siemian beat the Buccaneers. Trevor Sikkema probably won't beat the Buccaneers. I don't think his heart would be in it. Listen, I've got to confess something here to our Pewter Report readers, listeners, and viewers. This is not a prop. This is an actual can. You can hear it's full. It's not like the can that's been consumed. This is a Celsius that I did not drink today. All right, this is the orange Celsius that I should have consumed. Why? Because I'm really tired. It's a Monday, and even though I've been doing this for 26 years, not drinking Celsius, they haven't been around that long. But I've been covering the Buccaneers for 26 years. I feel like a rookie today. I made a rookie mistake. I did not have this thing, and it's 4:07 Eastern time here on Monday. I cannot have this now because I will be up until 1 o'clock in the morning. That's how well Celsius works, folks. I'm telling you. And I'm kind of glad that I didn't, JC, because during this testimonial, which is off the cuff and straight from my heart, you feel Celsius working. And then when you don't take it, you feel it not working. If that makes any sense, right? Like I feel like I should have had a Celsius today because and the beauty is, let's see, if this was another crappy sports drink that I'm not going to name, other brands, but if it was, I could take that and then have a sugar crash and I'd be fine to go to bed. But the problem is I don't like drinking all that sugary stuff. And what makes Celsius so unique is there's no sugar, there's no preservatives. It's great functional energy that you need, and there's no crash. So it's kind of a yin and a yang. It's like if I take it before 3, I'm good. I can sleep at night and all that. Otherwise, it almost works too good. So Celsius, folks, if you haven't had the chance, you probably listened to this podcast. You've probably seen all of the delicious flavors that we're going to throw up. There they are. Tropical 5, Fuji apple pear, orange, sparkling wild berry, watermelon, which is my wife Ashley's favorite. Folks, you got to try them. Click on the banner ads on pewterreport.com or go to Celsius.com. Click on the store locator. But see, even the banner ads on pewterreport.com, they made it so easy. You click on those, you type in your zip code, and boom, it finds it for you. Once you find some Celsius, try it. There's a lot of flavors. Then once you've narrowed down your favorites, which might be all of them, I'm not going to lie, then go to Amazon.com, order them in bulk, and do the subscribe and save. Then they ship them right to your house like me, so you never run out. Novel idea, right?
Yeah, I mean, and I'll jump on that too. I did not take my Celsius today. I kind of passed out right before the podcast because I was just so drained. And the same with you. If I drink one now, if I drink one after 2, 3 o'clock, it's got me wired to go. And I'm up till at least 11 o'clock midnight. But the best thing about Celsius too is that with the flavors is I know some people don't like carbonation. They have flavors that aren't carbonated. Some of the green tea. So like it's like so. It's just good. It gives you great energy. There's no crash, which is the best part about it. I love it. I'm so glad.
Such losers today.
I
on
know.
This Victory Monday, JC.
Like,
the Bucs won. We didn't. We didn't take ourselves.
I'm just so glad that I got introduced to Celsius. John. John introduced me to Celsius at training camp, and I'm like, "What's all Celsius?" He's like, Trust me, try it. You're not." So I tried it on the way home from training camp one day. I was like, "Wow, this is amazing. I'm hooked."
Speaking of losers, that's me, because I was the only member of the Pewter Report staff dumb enough to pick against the Buccaneers.
Had to
Sorry.
make up ground somewhere.
Well, it was a swing and a miss, and glad I missed. Listen, like I said on the Pewter Report postgame podcast last night, for the Buccaneer fans out there, glad I was wrong. I don't know if John Ledyard's ever said that, right, for picking against the Buccaneers and and winning. But I'll be glad to take the L. So yes, Mark Fisher, you predicted the Bucs to lose so sincerely. Didn't Tampa overachieve? Are you happy? Yeah, I'm happy the Buccaneers won. Primarily because I'm a defensive guy and I love the takeaways, right? 5 takeaways. Again, what concerns me, we talked about this a little bit last night, JC, is it took 5 takeaways and a +3 turnover margin to beat the Colts by 7 points with 10 seconds left, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, it was a win. I'm glad. I'm not trying to knock the win. I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer, but I'm at the same time, I'm just trying to keep it in perspective. There's still a lot of improving that has to go on. I think this team needs to get Carlton Davis back sooner rather than later. I asked Bruce about that today, JC, and this might be the time before we kind of look at the playoff picture for the Buccaneers, which is really good right now at 8-3. But Bruce said today, Carlton Davis really, I think, has got a pretty good shot at playing. He didn't say that. That's just my interpretation. But it sounds like Carlton Davis has got a really good chance to go on Sunday, which is good because they're playing whack-a-mole in the secondary, right? It's like you get Sean Murphy-Bunting back, you lose Jamel Dean, right? You lose Jamel Dean, you get Carlton Davis back. So,
yeah, it's awful. And it comes at a great time, too. You got some good, you're going to have a good test against the Bills there with Stephon Diggs and having your number one guy shut down. Not really sure what's going on with Atlanta and Calvin Ridley. He's on the NFI. I don't know if he'll be back anytime soon, but and then you look at the Saints, they just have a mishmash of wide receivers there. So, but having him back is just incredible. He was playing at an incredible clip before, one of the best corners in the league, really cementing himself as a top 10 cornerback in the NFL. So getting him back along with Sean Murphy-Bunting, give yourself, 2 good perimeter guys. Ross Cockrell sneaks in the middle. It's going to be interesting to see if they go with if Dean can't go, if they go with the or Delaney outside, or if they keep Sean Murphy-Bunting inside and use Ross Cockrell. I'll be really interested to see how they match those guys up.
Just keep Mike Edwards on the field. Like that guy's just a playmaker, right?
He is.
Third interception of the season last week, literally a week ago on Monday Night Football against the Giants. He leads the team with 3, even though he's kind of a reserve, right? I mean, he's taken over the nickel spot, but he's not a starting player, yet he's got 3 picks, 2 pick sixes. Now he got a forced fumble yesterday and made a really, really good play tracking down the Colts kick returner after a 71-yard return, pushing him out of bounds. That was a hero play. And I'll tell you what, the thing with Mike Edwards is, and, we did some digging, and I know John is like, he's like Mike Edwards' agent. He loves the guy, right? I mean, John Ledyard loves Mike Edwards. I love him too, but I mean, not to the degree. It's not like a Blaine Gabbert thing for me, like it is for John. But the thing with Mike Edwards is we found out the reason why they're a little skeptical about starting him against safety is, I mean, first of all, you got Antoine Winfield Jr. and you got Jordan Whitehead. So you got 2 really good guys in front of him. But at the nickel position, they were just kind of concerned about his lack of speed, right? He's not a burner. He's more of a 4-5 guy than he is a 4-4 guy, right? Sean Murphy-Bunting in the slot. He's got the 4-4 speed, although he got cooked yesterday on a vertical route. But the thing with Edwards, though, is he's not the fastest Bucs DB by any means. But as Bruce Arians said today, he ran as fast as he ever has in his life on that kickoff return, which was a hero play. So I mean, I want to see more Mike Edwards. I'm just like John. Keep him on.
Like Shaq said, if he doesn't make that tackle, he doesn't make that hero tackle, they might still be playing during their press conferences. So huge play by Mike Edwards. He's got to see the field more. And it's interesting too. You said it perfectly. He doesn't have that.
He is seeing the field more. I mean, like they're playing him over Ross Cockrell. I think Ross only had 4 snaps yesterday, but I'm just saying it's like keep him on the field. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm almost kind of glad. Listen, I'm sorry. I phrased that the wrong way. I don't want anybody to be injured. But if there's a silver lining in the Jamel Dean injury, is if Carlton Davis comes back, right, which we hope and expect him to against the Falcons, then you've got Sean Murphy-Bunting and Jamel Dean all on the field at the same time with Jordan Whitehead and Antoine Winfield. I mean, that means Mike Edwards is back on the bench. And to me, he is the most playmaking guy right now. He's had a hand in 4 takeaways in the secondary. That's more than anybody.
Yeah, he's a ball hawk. He's a playmaker. So I mean, you got to have those guys on the field at some point, and somehow, and they've figured out a way to do it, and figured out a way to kind of cover that lack of speed here that he possesses, and he's been showing up for them with either turnovers or creating turnovers. So yeah, Mike Edwards has got to see the field a lot more and stay there, and they got to find a way to creatively get him on the field even when all the cornerbacks are healthy.
Long lost leisure. Last time the Bucs won a game they were losing by 10 points was last year. That's right. And you know who that was against? The Atlanta Falcons on the road in Atlanta. They were down 17-0, and they scored 31 points. That's so ridiculous, right? 31 points in the second half to come back and beat the Atlanta Falcons. 31-27 was the score. So that was a Herculean effort. That was a game that really kind of befuddled me, a lot of Buccaneer fans, to see them down 17-0 at the half, thinking, wait a minute, this is a Super Bowl caliber team losing to the Falcons? What? The Raheem Morris coached Falcons because they already fired Dan Quinn. But so we'll see. For some reason, these games typically in Atlanta have always been kind of close, right? I still think the Buccaneers are going to go undefeated on the road. I've said that, but that is interesting. That's a good point to note. I mentioned Blaine Gabbert earlier. Long Lost Leisure says Blaine Gabbert about to hire Taysom Hill's agent to negotiate another raise this offseason. Yeah, why not, right?
Got to get that money.
Yes.
Hey, he's still, as you said, undefeated as Bucs quarterback.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you play him, they're going to win. Didn't need him yesterday, apparently, because they didn't play him. But I'm just saying. BetMGM, real question. Is Gronk a Pro Bowler this year? In my heart, yeah, he is, because he's a stud. But I'm just concerned that I don't think he's got enough games, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the thing too is, listen, at least the Pro Bowl is a joke, right? But it's at least it's better than like the hockey and the baseball all-star games, right?
Yeah.
Because they hold that at the halfway point of the season. So it's not even like you had a great year. You had a great half year, and we're going to reward you by playing, an all-star game in the middle of the season. That's about as stupid can be, if you ask me.
Celebrity contest.
Well, it just is. It's dumb. It's like, okay, great. You've had a great start to the season, but how are you going to finish, right? Isn't sports all about how you finish, right? Ask the Pittsburgh Steelers from last year. Sorry, John. But you know what I'm saying? Seriously. It's like, it's not how you start. It's how you finish, right? The Bucs were 7-5. They won 8 games in a row to win the Super Bowl. Were you more impressed with the start or with the finish? Okay.
Exactly.
So I'm just saying, why even have the Pro Bowl voting and tabulation in the first or second week of December? It's kind of stupid, right? When there's 5 games left in the season or 4 games left, whatever it is.
They don't do that with the All
Let
Pro.
the whole thing play out. You only have 17 games. So if you have a player who's been injured for the first, 4 games or so, like Gronk, for example, what happens if Gronk has 4 100-yard games in a row now? Like he's already got 1. Let's say he's got 3 more in a row, right? I mean, that counts, doesn't it? I mean, I think we're getting too close to the Pro Bowl voting and the end of voting at that point in time.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he's already got 378. That would give him, almost 800 yards. He gets, let's say, he catches 4 or 5 more touchdowns, 9 touchdowns, 800 yards, 9 touchdowns with 60. I mean, those look like Pro Bowl numbers, especially as a tight end in the NFL. But he's not going to get that opportunity to get there because of the way Pro Bowl voting is structured. But I don't think he's a Pro Bowl this year. I think he's missed too many games. I think when you watch him play, when he's been in there, he's a Pro Bowler. I mean, you look at what he's getting.
He started with 4 touchdowns in 2 games, and then he had 123 yards yesterday. I mean, I think he's a Pro Bowl caliber player, but he's not going to make the Pro Bowl. I don't know. Maybe he will, because from what I understand, that the tight end position around the NFL is not what it's been in years past. So maybe that's the case.
And Kittle's been hurt in the NFC too. So I mean, if you're kind of looking at the NFC team, I don't really. no one's really stood out to me in the NFC as tight ends. So.
I haven't studied enough to have an opinion on it. I'll take a look at it this week, though. Harvinder says, "Did Vita find his tooth?" Bruce wouldn't let him.
He said, "I don't care about that."
Vita Vea wanted to go look for the tooth after the game. Bruce said, "No, you've got 30 others. Get on the bus. We're going to the airport." Vita's like, "Okay." So
took that nice picture of it afterwards too. He loved it.
Yeah. I think Vita likes to look so much, he's just gonna like punch himself in the mouth and get all bloody again. That was a great look for TV. I saw that. I was like, oh damn, that's
it's
crazy.
funny. It's funny too. He did an Instagram poll asking if he should do the traditional Tonga gold tooth in there. And his girlfriend was like, "I don't care what this vote says. He's not getting a gold tooth." And he's like, "She won't let me live my dreams." he's got such a personality sometimes.
He does. No, he does. Yeah. I miss that guy in the locker room. I miss all of them in the locker room. It sucks, this whole COVID thing. Any news on Dean? Yes. No structural damage, apparently, which is good. It's a shoulder bruise. So it's not like Jordan Whitehead where he's going to need surgery, right? It's a bruise. It's a pain tolerance thing. Now, as Sean Murphy-Bunting can attest, hey, you kind of need your arms to run down the field and to break up passes and things like that. So we'll see what Dean's range of motion is, if he's able to play or not. There's been some whispers about Dean's level of pain tolerance around the building, not being what it needs to be. But at the same time, I think the message was sent about that to Dean after his knee injury.
When he didn't play.
And so I think he got back out in the field. And there's a difference between playing hurt and playing injured, right? It's hard to play injured, but you can play hurt. And let's face it, nobody is anywhere close to 100% right now at this late in the season. We're almost here in December. So I would not rule out Jamel Dean for this week, but we'll see. We'll know more on Wednesday, as Bruce would say.
They're in the tubes today, and we'll get more of an idea.
Yeah, exactly. Let's talk about Scotty Miller for a second here. I understand Scotty running the wrong route as he's been out for weeks. Why is Evans doing well? I think you're talking about, Harvinder, the miscommunication on the first series of the game. I don't know. I mean, football's not a perfect science. Not a perfect game, right? There's mistakes. It happens sometimes. You should have everything ironed out right now, but I mean, at the same time, OJ Howard shouldn't jump off sides in the first play of the game at Washington either, right? I mean, he's a 5-year veteran. He's played football most of his life. He should remember the snap count, but yet it happens. So it's just a mistake. It's nothing fatal. And I appreciate the fact that Scotty, and I looked this up and I wrote about this in my 2-point conversion. Scotty Miller was out there for 4 plays on offense and 4 plays on special teams. So the Cat played 8 plays in his first game back. And what happened on his 4 plays? Well, on 2 of them at least. Well, one of them on the offensive play, he kind of ran the wrong route, went inside when he should have gone outside, was an interception. Then he makes up for it with the 37-yard defensive pass interference penalty, right? And so that's at least a second play. I don't know what the other 2 plays were outside of. Bruce said today that Scotty Miller had a hell of a block, which that's not Scotty Miller's MO at 5'10", about a $175. He's not known as a blocker, but he apparently threw a pretty good block out there for Gronk's run and catch on 3rd down. So then you look at the 4 special teams plays where he was a gunner, which that is not Scotty Miller's forte either. I'm not saying I want to fight Scotty Miller like the late great Mark Cook did with Jude Ajay-Barima. I'm not saying that at all. I like Scotty. We've got the same name, but the thing is when I saw him go down there as a gunner, I'm thinking, wow, is he really going to try to tackle this guy? Because I mean, Scotty's not a physical guy. He's a fast guy, right? But the thing is that Bruce said he split a double team and was Johnny on the spot right there, recovering the fumble on that muffed punt return from Nyheim Hines. So in 8 plays, I thought the DPI and that's pretty impactful, right? I mean, that's making an impact when you really have 2 standout plays out of 8 in a game. That's a pretty good ratio.
Yeah, he was your game ball player, and yeah, I remember yesterday in the chat you messaged all caps, Scotty's that gunner.
Yeah.
It was yeah, it was hey, he had made 2 plays at that position. One of them was pivotal in bringing the Bucs back into that game with that muff recovery. If he
Yeah.
wasn't down there, if you didn't have his speed, if it was somebody else, who knows what that would have been like? Maybe the Colts would have had the ball, but
Yeah.
with his smarts, his ability, and his speed, he was able to wrap that ball up.
Exactly. William Butler with the $5 super chat. We appreciate that. So is AB back for the Falcons game? What do you think, JC? I mean, this has kind of been the big question around around these parts.
Yeah.
When the hell is AB going to return?
I think if he's able to go, they're gonna bring him back. But I think they kind of learned with the Gronk thing, especially a guy at his player, especially someone so valuable to your team. This is football starts now. I mean, we're in December. Their next game is December. It's December football. Playoffs are coming up right around the corner. There's 6 games left. You don't want to rush them. You haven't. I mean, you could definitely use them. I don't think you need him. I think if he's back there as your number 3, obviously it opens up a lot more for everybody else, and it just presents another problem on the field for coverages and for matchup purposes. But if you can get away, if he's not 100% ready, and you can get away for this Falcons game without him, don't play him. Sit him. Let him rest. But he's a competitor, and he's probably want to get out there the last couple of games.
Yeah.
I think Scott will know more on Wednesday.
Yeah, that's right, as Bruce would say. Listen, I don't think you play the guy until he's absolutely ready to go, because you don't want this injury to kind of have a relapse. You need him for the big games, the Saints, the Bills, a little bit later at home. You need him for the playoffs.
Yep.
Right now, you've got an embarrassment of riches as it is on offense, right? You've got Gronk back. You've got Mike Evans. You've got Godwin. You've got Lenny. All that stuff. So, in my opinion, I think that you can wait and rest him until that's the case.
Yeah, absolutely. If he's not 100, there's no reason to rush him out there.
Yeah,
none at all. You've got too many important games at stake. You should be able to go out there and beat the Falcons without him. Don't rush him back if you don't have to. Carlton Davis is another thing, a little bit younger. I think if he's, if he's at 90%, 85%, and he's ready to go, yeah. I mean, he's a young guy. He's gonna, let's get him back out there. But AB, you got to be careful with that.
You mentioned the word important, JC, and there's probably nothing more important than right now for you Buccaneer fans out there, and Pewter Report readers, listeners, and viewers, to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Pewter Report TV. So you need to do that, subscribe. Otherwise, JC's going to throw that cat.
I don't want to throw the cat.
I'm just kidding. No, we're not. We like animals here. We're not going to harm any animals. There's no animals harmed in the making of this podcast, by the way.
No.
So, but what we do want you to do is hit the like button. See, when you subscribe to our YouTube channel and you hit the like button on our podcasts, that it helps our algorithm and it gets us in front of more Buccaneer fans. It increases our visibility, our popularity, and it also makes us more money. We're not going to lie. But then that money goes right back into this podcast, which benefits you. So you see how we all work together in doing this? That's awesome. We put this show on for you. All we ask of you, aside from occasional super chats, which we love, is to hit the like button and subscribe. So please do it.
Absolutely.
All right, JC, let's talk about these playoff-bound Buccaneers. Is it too early to say that? They haven't qualified for the playoffs yet, but 8-3, they're kind of sitting pretty, right? I mean, you've got the Arizona Cardinals and the Green Bay Packers who are ahead of them right now. So right now the Buccaneers would have the number 3 seed. And we'll see that the Packers have not had their bye week yet. So they're at 9-3. The Bucs are at 8-3. But we looked at the schedule, and again, you've got the away schedule, which consists of Atlanta, which consists of the Jets, who have won 3 games, and then the Panthers, who seemed like they're really in the downward spiral right now.
Yeah.
You got the Panthers twice, then you've got the Bills and the Saints. It seems like the Bucs could run the table here. I think the Bills game will be the most challenging because they're the best team remaining on this schedule. So I don't know if they're going to be able to get the number 1 seed. It's going to, you have to have Arizona lose. They got to play the Rams again. The Rams are going to want some vengeance there. It's not out of the the not out of reality to expect the Buccaneers to to finish with the number 1 or number 2 seed. I think it could happen, but they're going to need a little bit of help.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think it's safe to say that they've almost got that NFC South wrapped up. I mean, they have a 97% chance to win the division right now. You look at their opponents, we were just talking to them. Even if they somehow lost 2 of these games, I'm just looking at the Saints schedule right now.
So is your cat.
Yeah, he's all about the camera. He's all about it. Even if they somehow lose the Saints twice, right? The Saints still have a tough schedule too. They have to play the Cowboys here.
Right.
They have to play the Bucs, obviously. The Dolphins, who are surging right now. So it's going to be interesting to see how everything plays out. But I think they've got this division wrapped up as of right now, and they're surging towards potentially number 1 seed. Arizona, I think, will falter. I mean, they're a young team. They're definitely going to have their hiccups, and they're going to have their tests, and they don't have Kyler Murray in there. How simple is he going to be able to just transition right back into everything?
I didn't get that. Could you try?
I didn't get that either, JC. I didn't get that.
Right?
It's all good.
It's all good. What is going on over there at the Allen household? You've got crazy cats running everywhere, hitting buttons, creating sound.
This cat's crazy. But yeah, they should win the division. 97% chance to win the division. Back to you, Scott.
And 99% chance they're going to make the playoffs. Yes, I said that they haven't made the playoffs yet. Okay, I agree. But at the same time, yes, Raymond, they're going to make the playoffs. I would be shocked if they didn't. At this point. And according to 538.com, they've got a 99% chance of making the playoffs right now. So that's good. That's a good situation for the Buccaneers to be in. Getting some favorable reviews here in the chat.
Someone said throw that cat while you lost it. You're like, don't throw the cats. Yeah. I just lost it.
Yeah.
What can you do?
Yep. Okay, this is a good question here. How many Bills Mafia fans should we expect at Raymond James Stadium?
Well,
they travel well, and let's face it, Tampa's a pretty good destination in December if you live up in upstate New York, right? Like it's a favorable place to visit. Maybe watch a Bills game.
Dare we say it's probably the new San Diego? Maybe
Yeah.
It's a new place to go. You got a good team that you're going to go watch play your team, and I think we'll see a good amount. It's difficult though this year too because the Bucs season tickets are sold out. They're not buying. There's no single game tickets available. They weren't available. So the amount of Bills Mafia fans, amount of any
it's going to be less than in years past, right?
It's going to be a lot less in years past, and it shows you how many of these treacherous Bucs fans have sold their tickets to opposing teams. But no,
it's Christmas time, JC. People need cash in their pockets, do a lot of holiday shopping.
So
listen, that's going to happen. I agree. There will be some Buccaneer fans that are going to want to cash out. And that's fine. Like I'm not condoning that, but I understand it, especially around this time of the year. Especially for the premium price, you could probably, pilfer some Bills fans for. But at the same time, this is a fun team to watch. You only have Brady for just so many years, really, right? I mean, this year and next year is all he's really guaranteed for. Who knows what's going to happen past that? This time is literally slipping by, and it's been fun. It is fun, but at the same time, it's like, if you sell that ticket to the Bills fan this year, that's one less time you're going to see Tom Brady, Rob Gronkowski in a Bucs uniform because it's going to be over before you know it.
It's like when Jordan, you knew Jordan was coming back, and it wasn't going to be long who's going to be there, or any baseball player, or any football or hockey, or any of these guys who is nearing the end of their career. Everyone wants a chance to see them, even if you're not a fan of either team that's performing. You want to see. Everyone wants to see greatness, and that's what Tom Brady is. Greatness. That's what Gronk is. Greatest at his position of all time, and So I expect, again, holiday season. I mean, nosebleeds right now for this game are going for $500 a ticket. So
Right.
even if you're up in the 300s, you're making a cool grand. You're paying off half of your season tickets in one in one spell. So I don't blame people for sure. The question is, how many broken tables are we going to see? And they're going to bring the tables.
That's
Like
true.
that's
What
the
is
interesting
what
part.
is the logic and the reasoning there? You're
They're from
spending money.
Buffalo.
Oh,
We'll have to
granted,
ask Gronk if we get him this week. He's from
okay.
Buffalo.
All right, yeah. I'm thinking it's like you're spending money, albeit not a whole bunch, because you're
It's like
buying a
$40,
cheap
$50
plastic
tables.
table. Well, yeah, you're right. And then what you're doing is you're making the conscious decision to jump on that table with the hope and expectation that it breaks, right? Like that's what you want. It's like when Paul Stanley from Kiss, when he like swings his guitar and he smashes it, like when he bashes the guitar on the stage, he wants it to break. The problem is Paul Stanley is a millionaire, right? Many times over. He gets free guitars from like Gibson
To break.
to break, because that's part of the show. It's part of the gimmick. These are Bills fans. I think a lot of them, good, hardworking Americans, blue collar families, and all that are paying good money for these cheap tables that they hope to break with their body. And you've seen plenty of these on Twitter, JC. It's not the only thing. The tables are not the only thing getting broken with some of these Bills fans, right? It's elbows, shoulders, ribs, right?
Oh my goodness, it's crazy. Let's say you spend $300 on a ticket, then you spend $50 on parking, then
Right.
at least $100 inside drinking, maybe $50 on pre-tailgate, and then another
Right.
$50. You're spending another $50 on a table just to jump through it and break. It makes
Yeah.
no
And then
sense.
and then how much for like the ambulance ride and
Yeah,
the ER copay and all of that? Just saying. Oh boy.
They're an interesting bunch. I remember when Tom Brady was with the Pats and he went up there. They'd throw other objects on the field at him too.
Yes,
So,
Harbinder is mentioning that. We're not going to exactly post it here in the chat, but yes,
yeah,
agreed.
yeah.
I don't quite get that one either. Bills fans they're a curious bunch, to say the least.
They definitely are.
We'll see how many show up, but that was a good question though. Listen, one of the things I want to address on this show is did a little bit of digging for my within my 2-point conversion. And it was great to see Sack Barrett. You know me, I'm a defensive line kind of guy. Revert back to Sack Barrett, especially for at least one game. It needs to continue. He's got 7.5 sacks. He only had 8 last year, so he's close to getting to double digits, which I think he's going to end up in that. He broke a 3-game sackless streak. He hadn't had a sack in over a month, including the bye week. So it's important because they need this guy to be that type of player on a regular basis. Doesn't have to get 2 sacks every game, but he's got to make those impactful sacks. And when I was on with John and Matt at halftime of the Pewter Game Day show, one of the things we were talking about is, okay, Ndamukong Suh had a sack in the first half, and so did Shaq, but they weren't coming on third downs, and they weren't really meaningful, impactful sacks. Sacks that happen on third down that force teams to punt, or
Right.
better yet, the sack fumble. And that's exactly what happened in the third quarter with that. JC, I did some research. It's interesting to note that, and I'll run through these real quickly here. On the road this year, in the Bucs loss in week 3, their first road game at LA against the Rams, neither team had a takeaway, right? So it was an even turnover margin. We know the Bucs lost that game. They won the next week on the road in New England because they had a +2 turnover margin. They had 2 takeaways in that game, and they didn't turn the ball over on offense. Philadelphia in the win, the Bucs had a takeaway, so do the Eagles. I call them takeaways because I hate the term turnover. Turnover is what happens on offense. Takeaway is what you do on defense. You take the ball away. So it's the same thing. Interception's interception, a fumble's a fumble. But if the offense does it, it's a turnover. If the defense does it, it's a takeaway. I learned that from Greg Schiano, and it made a lot of sense to me, so I'm sticking with it. But in that Eagles game, they had an even turnover margin in that game. Then you come to the 2 losses back-to-back with New Orleans before the bye week, Washington after the bye week. JC, that's where the wheels fell off the wagon. The Bucs had 0 takeaways. They had a -3 turnover margin in New Orleans. And then at Washington, they had 1 takeaway. The Washington football team had 2. That was a -1 turnover margin for the Bucs. So if you add them all up, the Buccaneers on the road coming into this Colts game had only had 4 takeaways in the previous 5 games. No wonder why they lost,
Right.
because the defense wasn't showing up on the road. And listen, you need from your playmakers guys like Antoine Winfield, guys like Mike Edwards, guys like Levante David, guys like Sack Barrett, for these guys to really earn those big paychecks, earn that draft status, and create takeaways. And so the Bucs did to the Colts with 5 takeaways what they hadn't even done in the previous 5 games combined with takeaways. That was kind of mind blowing.
Yeah. A lot of takeaways and turnovers there. But yeah, I mean, you're right. And going back to your first point, about sacks and Sack Barrett this is a team that struggled to get to the quarterback at all. I mean, 7.5. He looks like his trajectory is on to 10. The next highest sack total is 4 by Ndamukong Suh. They're only at 27 sacks on the season. Like that's not good.
No, it's not.
And specifically on how many sacks they could have had, I would like to see the number of that. It's got to be at least 10, 12 that they've let guys roll out of them. So you're looking at about half the number of sacks that they should have added to the number that they do have. This team should be around 40 sacks right now, trooping their way down to 50, but just missed opportunity after missed opportunity. And as you said too, same thing with turnovers and takeaways, especially takeaways. How many times has the ball hit these guys in their hands and they haven't been able to come down with it? How many times have they not been able to concentrate? Getting the turnover. It's that's been an issue with this cornerbacking group. Going back for the last 3 years too. They can defend the ball. The passes defending PBUs are always up there, but they can't turn it into the interception. And you started seeing that with some of these playmakers, especially Antoine Winfield Jr. and Mike Edwards, be able to get their hands on the ball and actually come down with it. And not only come down with it, make game changing plays. When they needed it the most. I was going to say too, like Shiana did one thing right, I guess.
Oh yeah, listen, you can learn from everybody, folks. I mean, the best thing I learned from Dirk Cutter is the phrase he always used to utter at the press conferences: the greatest ability is availability, right? Like you can't help but love in the top. I love that. I stole that from Dirk, right? I mean, I use that from Greg Schiano, and there's no harm, no foul. I mean, you can even learn from some of the worst Bucs coaches in Tampa Bay history. So you just got to take the good with the bad, and there you have the facts of life. All right, JC, what does this team have to do to run the table? Like if we expect this team to get, or let's say be in contention for the first or the second seed in the playoffs in the NFC, they're probably going to have to run the table at this point in time, right? Because I think that's going to go to, I think the top seed's going to go to a team with no fewer than 3 losses, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be difficult for them to get there.
More than 3 losses.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult for them to get there. The Packers still have their bye week. They're going to come out re-energized. Obviously, Rodgers dealing with that foot injury. We'll see if that limits him coming out of the bye week. Cardinals just had their bye week. We'll see if they get Kyler back, how quickly he can, assimilate back into the offense, and how quickly they can get rolling. But the Bucs definitely have a chance. I mean, to say that they don't have a chance at the number 1 seed, if they run the table, it's just going to take a lot of mental preparation. It's going to take them playing a lot. Brady said it best last week, and I asked him this on Thanksgiving, and he said a lot of teams start to lose hope. They start to lose hope around here, and they start to do less. Well, we can't rest on that. We need to do more. We need to find a way to do more. And you saw that yesterday, and you heard it from the guys. Sack Barrett saying, Leonard Fournette saying he gave a halftime speech, and Shaq saying that halftime speech really inspired the defense to go out there and be able to make plays and go out there and play the way. Todd Bowles showed them the things that they were getting beat on, and they made the adjustments, which was very encouraging to hear because I feel like there haven't been enough adjustments made at halftime. And they made those adjustments to take those plays away, and you saw what the outcome was. They were able to force turnovers. They were able to get to the quarterback, put more pressure on Carson Wentz, continue to shut down Jonathan Taylor to that last drive, which they were letting them run on him. You've got to be able to go into a game and realize if things aren't working from the get-go, if you're not hot from the start, what can we do to kind of turn this around? Is it going to be the defense? It's Brady says it the best. This is a team game. It's not just me. It's not just the defense. It's not just it's everybody contributing together as a collective unit. And if someone needs to step up, then someone steps up. If
someone like Nick Leverett. Like Nick Leverett stepped up.
Like Nick Leverett,
right? How about
that? So that's exactly what this team needs to do is they need to have each other's back. And if one spot is underperforming, they need to, step up and start performing until they can get on the right track. But I think there's definitely a possibility they end up with a 1 seed. I mean, if you're an Arizona Cardinals team, do you really want the 1 seed? You got an untested quarterback, you got an untested head coach. I think it's better for them to keep the momentum rolling. And even if they do, quite frankly, playing in Arizona doesn't really frighten me.
Yeah.
Playing in Lambeau with those fans, with the weather, I know it wasn't an issue last year, but I think that's a route you don't want to have to take to go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, no, I agree. There's a chance AB comes back this week. If you remember last year against Atlanta, he had a big touchdown to help key that second half victory. I think it was his first touchdown as a Buccaneer. I'd have to go back and look. It was either that one or the Lions game, but I remember that he had a big touchdown on the road, his first touchdown. So that's interesting. You know what else is interesting? Well, I'm going to tell you what else is interesting. I'm going to tell you that Manscaped has got a very interesting sale going on through midnight tonight. It's Cyber Monday, folks. 25% off your entire order plus free shipping. Now, usually you can use their promo code PEWTER20 to save 20% off. But the awesome folks at Manscaped have been giving you that additional 5% off that's going to put this deal over the top. I know all of you right now are reaching for your credit cards and getting ready to log on to manscaped.com. And before you do, it's mandatory that I read this. It's holiday season, and you don't know what to get as a gift or a stocking stuffer. Well, folks, I got the answer for you right here, my friends. Get 25% off Manscaped and free shipping. Manscaped has got the tools to guarantee you that this year's stocking stuffer or white elephant competition will be won by you at your office party or your office holiday festival get-together. Manscaped is the leader in men's below-the-waist grooming, and they have now served more than 4 million men worldwide. If my math is correct, JC, that's almost 8 million balls. Get 25% off, plus 25% off, and free shipping at manscaped.com with the promo code PEWTER20 now through Cyber Monday. That's November 29th. That's today, folks. Ho, 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 fellas. Naughty or nice, 'tis the season to perform. Manscaped's best-selling product is the Performance Package 4.0, which is at the top of every man's wish list this year. Inside, you're going to find the Lawnmower's body trimmer. It's the best body trimmer on the market by far for your balls, your butt, your body, whatever. And the Weed Whacker ear, hair, and nose trimmer. I use that, folks. That alone is worth the money because you stick that bad boy up there, and there's no pulling, snagging, no tears, no nothing. It gets the job done. Let's not forget about their famous liquid formulations, the Crop Preserver Ball Deodorant, the Crop Reviver Ball Toner, to maximize your ball hygiene routine. Get the Performance Package now. Receive 2 free gifts, Manscaped Boxers and the Shed Travel Bag. The dads can't stop talking about this. The teens buy it secretly, and the women will love you for it. Now, these are our picks for the Manscaped Surefire Win Stocking Stuffers. Number 1, the Manscaped 2-in-1. Stop laughing, JC. I can see you. The 2-in-1 shampoo and conditioner just launched. Kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Number 2, the Manscaped Cologne Infused Body Wash. Number 3, the Shears 2.0 Luxury 4-piece Nail Kit. Number 4, the Crop Mop Ball Wipes for your stanky balls. And number 5, the Manscaped Signature Cologne. These formulations are all vegan, cruelty-free, dye-free, sulfate-free, paraben-free, so you know these products are legit. Make sure you hurry to the site to ensure these wild gifts show up before the holiday season. While you're at it, get 25% off plus free shipping at manscaped.com with promo code PEWTER. That's now through Cyber Monday. That's today, folks. So hurry. Do not wait. Take full advantage of this offer. And again, you get the Weed Whacker 4.0. Comes with the LED light. It's waterproof. You can do your business in the shower. It comes with the ear, hair, nose trimmer, which this alone is worth the money. The Ball Crop Preserver and Reviver. These are fantastic products.
They are great. They are.
The Shed Travel Bag. This is a high-quality leather bag that you can carry around all of your Manscaped products. And again, as always, backed by popular demand. Free Pewter Report t-shirt of your choice. We have the white. You can go with white. You can go with the black. You can go with the pewter, which has been really popular. Kind of a dark gray color here. All I need from you to do is make the order using the promo code PEWTER20. You're going to save 25% off plus free shipping. Email me that receipt at my email address, which is srpewterreport.com, srpewterreport.com. It has your address, which I need. It does not have your financial information, which I don't need, don't want. And let me know what size shirt and color you want, and I will send it off to you. Happy holidays.
I will tell you, training camp, there's nothing hotter than training camp. You're sitting out there for a couple hours watching these. My balls thanked me with that Reviver afterwards. They really did.
Yeah, it's good
and
stuff.
Anyone I came in contact with.
Good stuff. We enjoyed doing the Manscaped reads. Sorry that I had to throw that promotion up there so you couldn't see JC laughing his ass off behind the scenes, but it was funny to watch. Good job, JC.
Got this. What did he say? Let me find it. Balls, man.
Balls,
and then the Pewter Report. Yeah.
The Pewter Report. Yeah. I like that.
And then you just so calm and collectedly just bravo. You just do such.
I'm a professional. JC,
you're so great.
So we have a $5 super chat here I want to get to. Is it worth it even at normal pricing from Brian? I can't find that super chat. We appreciate it. There it is. Is it worth it at the normal pricing? Yes, it is.
No, he said it's worth it even.
Okay.
Brian must have already got one.
Yes. So Brian got it, and hopefully you used the PEWTER20 promo code to save 20% off back in the day, 25% off if you do it today. So yes, good stuff from our partners over at Manscaped. Okay.
So I got a question for you, Scott. We're sitting here, we're going to this final stretch. We're talking about the playoffs. We're talking about, what's it going to take to get there? How can they run the table? Bucs just had Leonard Fournette go over 100 yards for the first time this season on the ground. He's currently sitting here at 620 yards, 621 yards for the season, 6 games left. Will the Bucs have a 1,000-yard running back this season, do you think?
I think so. I think there's a pretty good chance. Rojo would have done it last year, right? He would have done it last year if not for COVID and sitting at that final game because he was 22 yards short. I believe he was a 978. That's what he finished the season with. So yeah, I think that's the case. I think Fournette's going to need another 100-yard game or two to really kind of get it up there. Some games he's got around 60, 65 yards. Other games are in the 80s. The extra
379. So
yeah, the extra game helps. We do the math on that because I'm not really good at math, and I've not had my Celsius today, so I can't do math. Period. But
he's averaged 63 yards per game to get that 1,000 yards.
65 a game, and he'll get it. But I do think having an extra 100-yard game in there will help out. If you look back last year, Rojo had 4 100-yard games, 3 in a row against the Chargers, Bears, and Packers. Then he had the 192-yard game against the Panthers at Carolina. And you know what? I think it's all but assured it's going to happen against Carolina. Their run defense might be a little bit better, but last year they were terrible, right? If you remember, Fournette had his first 100-yard game in Tampa in week 2 against the Panthers. And really, Rojo had, I think, a touchdown in that game, and he had a pretty good game before that last drive where Leonard put the game away with a 44-yard run, I think, for a touchdown. It was over 40 yards. And then we all saw what happened when Rojo got the ball, 98 yards, right, in Carolina. How do you not finish with 200 though? I hate that. Like if I was a college football player, even an NFL player, and let's say I was just an average, like middling type of player, and let's say I had like 1,900 and 92 yards, rushing in my career, I would literally strangle myself for not getting the extra 8 yards to just say, I had 2,000 yards in my career over 6 years in the league. Was an okay guy, but that would kill me to be like that short. I'm sure Rojo, right? Like he is mulled and stewed all about that this entire off season,
Oh yeah.
right?
Oh yeah.
Like
And
978 and not being able to get, the full 1,000-yard season, and certainly nowhere close to that this year.
yeah, and then exactly. Not being relegated to the second down.
Yeah.
Back.
Ryan coming through these super chats again. Thank you so much. Am I crazy, or has Lenny become a good pass catching back now, a third down back? Yeah, I mean yes, I'll definitely say that he has kept Giovanni Bernard on the bench. I think we all were kind of in unison saying, okay, well, Rojo and Leonard are going to fight for carries on first and second down. This is before the start of the season, right? With training camp, we're sitting there talking about all of this, how they're going to use Giovanni Bernard. Bernard had a pretty good preseason, and in training camp, he was kind of supposed to be that third down guy. But to his credit, Leonard Fournette has strangled. I'm using strangle too much today. Sorry about that. I want to strangle your cat because he's creating a distraction, but I won't because I love animals. But seriously, like Leonard has taken over the first and second down duties from Rojo, and he's taken over the third down duties from Giovanni Bernard. I mean, he really has become quite the all-purpose back for Bruce Arians in this offense. And he's got 51 catches now for 354 yards, 6.9 yards per carry, and a touchdown. 6.9 yards per catch. I think the Bucs would love to see that closer to 10, right, instead of just 7. According to Bruce Arians, it is 10. Bruce is just out there telling stories today. Yeah, throw Lenny the ball, and he's going to get 9, and then he breaks a tackle, he gets 3 more. Like, all right, well, I don't see that happen all the time. Maybe you do, but what film you're watching. But
that's great.
But yeah, I mean, he's become that all-purpose back that they've wanted, right?
Yeah, I mean, good. His pass protection has definitely picked up as well. But yeah, I mean, he's been reliable catching the ball. You want to go back towards early in the season where he had that, tip ball that was an interception. He's come a long way since then, and he's kind of going back to what he did his last year in Jacksonville when he caught 76 passes. He's always been good as a pass catching back, and it's just kind of for some reason the skill just left him last year, but he's found his groove again, and he's been a reliable piece. And when Brady can't find, things aren't opening up quick enough, and Brady's able to find Leonard on those checkdowns and being able to even design some of those checkdowns and make him to scheme him open and get some chunk yardage. Yeah. It's been a valuable piece of this offense.
Yeah. Charlie, thanks for asking this question again. I saw it earlier, didn't answer it, but I'm glad you circled back around to it. Do the Bucs re-sign Leonard Fournette this offseason? Generally, the rule of thumb is no. You don't sign running backs. You draft them. We'll see what Leonard Fournette's market is. I think it's actually going to be maybe somewhat significant. I don't know what significant is, but I think it might be more than the Bucs want to pay.
I think so too.
And if that's the case, if you're Leonard, you need to go get the money. You just do. Right, you've won 1 Super Bowl. We'll see what this season holds. But listen, I've talked to guys, Jeff Gooch back in the day, Tyoka Jackson, Dexter Jackson, the Bucs Super Bowl MVP. When your home team doesn't want to pay you, and you only have so many years to make the money to get your bread, like you got to get your bread somewhere.
Yeah.
And for guys like Tyoka who left in 2001 and watched the Buccaneers win the Super Bowl. Warwick Dunn is the same way. He didn't win the Super Bowl. He went to Atlanta. Jeff Gooch, it stinks. It stinks. But at the same time, you got to think about your family, your retirement, and all of that. And if the money is different, if it's 2 different levels, or if it's I'm not saying chump change, but if it's C money in Tampa and you can get A money elsewhere, might have to get your money elsewhere.
Yeah, he's making $3.5 million this year. Again, I don't think the Bucs go over 4.5.
I agree.
I think the market will be somewhere around 5.5, 6. Someone will pay him. 3-year deal, something like that. And I think you're right. I think you got to take the money at that point. He said he came back because this was this was a special group of guys, and they wanted to try to do something special together. But I think after that, I think some of these guys are going to go and follow the money wherever the money takes them. And the Bucs have to be prepared for that. They got Keyshawn Vaughn, so they're in a good position.
Yeah.
I think Rojo's long gone. I don't think he comes back at all. But they'll look to the draft, I'm sure. I mean, that's what you got to do. I mean, look at you can't. That's the rule of thumb. And you said it. You don't pay running backs. Look at Christian McCaffrey. Look at Alvin Kamara right now. Look at a lot of these players, these running backs who got paid. Dalvin Cook, who are now injured.
Right.
Zeke last year, like.
I've never felt like a stripper before, but I do right now. Brian's just throwing all this money at me, and I love it. Thank you very much, Brian, for once again, awesome super chat. Kind of crazy, as Bruce told me, change your attitude or be cut last year. Yeah, it's right around that time. I mean, it's December, right? I mean, that was where there was that come to Jesus meeting where, he basically said, you're either going to accept your role in this team, Lenny, or, you can leave. I'll give you 30 minutes to think about it. You let me know. And that happened. And thankfully for the Buccaneers, it did. And he became playoff Lenny. Lombardi Lenny as a result, and
White House Lenny,
and
Lucas Oil Lenny,
Leonard Fournette, Lucas Oil Leonard, yesterday.
Yeah.
So
I love that. He was on Richard Sherman's podcast talking about it. And he's like, I wiped the tears, I wiped my eyes, and I said, I'll do whatever I need to do, Coach. Yeah. And that's awesome. And he talking about how, Tom Brady again, Tom Brady and the culture that he brings and the team. If you guys have watched any of his Man in the Arena, he talks so prolifically about the team and how it's the team first and how he gets everyone, no matter where he is, to buy into that. Obviously that was established with Belichick and the culture and himself being part of that with those old Patriots, with Brewski and everyone, preaching the team, and how quickly he's done it here. And not to say this was a team anyways. I mean, there was not really, and you know better than me, not many selfish players on this Buccaneers team, even before Brady came here, but to just hammer that home and set that culture. Lenny wanted to be a part of it, and you saw his wake-up call, and then you saw in the offseason, and I'm sure probably robust market helped a little bit, but wanting to come back to this team because it was special, and they were able to do something that hasn't been done in over 30 years. And right now they have a good chance of setting out to do what to finish the mission they set out for. Yeah.
Well, speaking of special, y'all are special. Thanks for joining us so much for another edition of the Pewter Report podcast. And thanks to you, Brian, for all those super chats. That was tremendous. We appreciate everybody who gives super chats, but Brian really coming through for us today, and that's awesome. But we appreciate everybody also who subscribes to our YouTube channel, Pewter Report TV, and hits those like buttons. We also like the ones who don't even watch the podcast, but visit pewterreport.com anyways. We love them too, even though they're not going to see this shout out or hear it because they don't watch the podcast. But if you know somebody who's a Buccaneer fan, does not know about this podcast, make sure that they do. So we have a lot of fun here. We enjoy the banter, the questions from you guys. That's what makes it all worthwhile. I would not be sitting here talking football with JC Allen. He's just not that interesting, if not for you guys. But because of you guys, I'm willing to put up with JC Allen for a whole hour and 3 minutes. So, again, for Jason, what's that?
And my cat.
Exactly. I kid because
pissed on
the cat. Did it really?
Yes,
the cat
it did. It smells terrible in my office right now. I gotta go wash my hands.
I can only imagine, and I'm thankful I don't have a cat. That's fantastic. Okay. Yeah. All right, so you're getting some bonus cat coverage here on pewterreport.com. Even though the Bucs aren't playing the Panthers, they're playing the Falcons this week. So maybe have your cat back for Panther Week. Later this month.
If I don't kick him
twice. Right. So thank you for all that you do, says Carter. Thank you guys. Thank you, Harvin. Thanks for everybody. Really appreciate it. And we're gonna have another podcast again on Wednesday, where we're gonna do our big Bucs Falcons preview. So make sure that you subscribe to Pewter Report TV, hit the like button. We appreciate that. And most importantly, be back here Wednesday, 4 o'clock for another edition of the Pewter Report podcast. Out.